Hey guys, thanks again so much for taking this course. I hope you've enjoyed it and you're taking action and getting your set list ready, getting your show ready, booking some shows, looking at your income and just going for it. One of the things that really 10x'd my business playing shows and just got me out there more, and probably the best investment I've ever made into my music career and touring career is to buy onto tours. Okay, buying onto a bigger tour, a bigger artist band, and basically paying to play. You're paying to play in front of a larger band's audience. And this is such a powerful tool to get you in front of new fans, sell more music, just amplify your music, get in front of potential radio stations. You're basically, what you're doing when you buy onto another artist's tour, especially if they got a whole bunch of dates booked, you're basically leveraging everything they've done for so many years and just like quantum leaping your career. Because all of a sudden, like, all the money, all the time, all the tours and shows that they did, they slogged it out forever, building a fan base, all the money that went into their radio, into their publicity, their press, everything like that. All of a sudden, by you buying onto their tour, you're all of a sudden just jumping in front of it, and kind of like, it's kind of like tailgating in a sense, and all of a sudden you're just like jumping onto the back of their train, and they're pulling you in a sense, because all of a sudden you're getting in front of all these things. Like, all of a sudden you're getting in front of a fan base, you're playing in front of live bodies. And what I love about buying onto tours is you get to see a response right away, and if your money worked. So say if you spend $100 or $500 to get in front of fans, immediately you will be in front of fans, hopefully, because you'll buy onto a tour, a bigger tour that has people that actually come to their show. And then all of a sudden you'll find out if you're selling merch right away. If there's people there and you put on a great show, you will sell merch. And even if you only pay back, like if you only, like maybe if you paid $500 and you sold $250 in merch, there's half of it covered right there. There's no other way that gives you direct, response and get your ROI right away. Like radio, you have no idea for a while until it starts cranking, or a publicity campaign. It's so hard to measure those things unless you're getting a direct feedback like you do when you buy onto a tour. The first tour I bought on tour was this band called Super Chick, and we went across the U.S. I think I paid $500, and we were selling anywhere between $500 and $1,500 in merch per month, and it was awesome. It was so awesome, and I sold tons of CDs. I got in front of their fans, and the cool thing is, when you buy onto another band's tour, when you play it and you put a good show on, you build a relationship with the promoter who's putting this on, and they're like, oh, I didn't know about your band. You guys are dope. I need to bring you guys back. And so many times that happened to me. It's like I bought into their tour, and all of a sudden I'm getting booked again to go back into that city. So once you've done the tour, right, with that band, you go and do a tour afterwards in those exact same markets, and you follow up and do your own headlining tour. That's the key right there. I hope you guys are taking notes on this. I just threw you a golden grenade right there, okay, to just 10x your business. Also, as far as radio, you're building relationships with radio when you're going to these stations. Get business cards, meet people, network when you're getting onto these tours. Build relationships with the band. So, because what happened was my career was kind of going on this like incline. It was starting to do really well. I bought onto that tour, which I tried to get onto for a while, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second on how you actually buy on. But I paid the first time to get on this tour, $500, and guess what happened the next time they wanted me to go on the tour? They liked me so much, my career was building because radio was starting to take off. They paid me $500 a night. How awesome is that? I was so stoked. Not only first did I pay to get there, the second time they paid me, and I still did great on merch, and it was awesome, and I built relationships, and then eventually got to a point where bands were paying me to buy onto my tours. And the reason I charge to buy into a tour is because the same thing. It's just like, I can't, just unless it's a relationship based, if I don't know the band, I just want to help a band out. It's just like, I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into my career. on press, on radio, and my music, and the artwork, and just so many different things. Me buying onto tours myself, and just me slogging it out, playing over 1,000 shows, and just put a lot of work and effort into my tour. And you just can't, sure, you can be a nice person, but you can't just give that away, because people won't appreciate it. They don't appreciate it. They don't understand. They just think they deserve to be there because they're dope and, they wrote a good song and they had one little radio hit. And it's just like, no, man. I've built a fan base over years, and you just don't give access away to that for free. So how do you go about actually doing this and getting onto a tour and buying on? Well, you have to obviously have a budget, right? You have to have a budget and say, this is how much we have per date, and that's normally how it works. It's either per date or for the whole tour. You can do a package thing, and some bands buy on with money, or some bands buy on with production. I've seen a lot of bands, what they'll do is they'll invest and buy some really nice production, like sound equipment, speakers, the whole thing, a sound man, lights, and all kinds of stuff. And so they'll approach a band that wants to go out and tour and say, hey, can we buy onto your tour, and we'll provide and pull the production, and that'll be our buy-on fee. I've seen that so many times, and it works great. The other way is obviously to pay, and to pay per date. And so what you do is you either email the artist, hit them up online, try and get in contact with them, hit up their booking agent, or hit up their manager. And you just say, hey, my name's this, we're in this band, we're a new band, we've got this and this going on, maybe we've got, single going to radio, we got a new album, we think our genre would fit, we love your band, and we wanted to know if we could buy on to the next tour, if we could buy on to a show, could we buy on to a short leg, even 3 dates. Start small if you have to, and just build that relationship. I encourage you, obviously, to buy onto a tour that would fit your musical genre, okay, so that you can get it in front of fans that makes sense. If you're a rock band, buy into a rock band tour. If you're a country artist, buy into a country artist tour. Try and get onto a band that you like, that you're really inspired by, local band. Look it up, look them up online, and find out who's out there. Let me tell you, bands want your money, okay? They will take your money, and you'll probably get a short set. You might get 15 minutes, you might get 20 minutes, you might get 30, depending on how big you are. Because we're a bigger band, there's 4 bands on one of those tours, and we bought on for main support. But the like, sometimes, let's just do it this way. If there's 3 bands on a tour, you got the headliner, then you got to pay more money for the co-headlining spot than you do for the opener. Okay, and so there's a tour that we bought onto, and there's actually 4 bands, 2 really big bands, okay, and then there's a third and a fourth, and we had that third slot, so I wasn't going to be the opener, but then the opener happened to be like super rich and had like the richest dad in the world, and so he bought that slot and paid over top of us to get that slot, even though we were a better fit, we were a bigger band. They bought us out of that slot, so it sucked. So money does talk, okay, and it can really jumpstart your career. I honestly do not know a better way to really just jumpstart your career, where you can just really just pay to get in. Like literally pay to get in. Like with radio, sure, they say there's payola and whatnot, but that's way even more expensive. It's way more riskier. And I find with radio, it's kind of fair weather fans, where it's just like a lot of people, okay, they heard the song on the radio, it's really dope, okay, that's cool, and then whoever's the next flavor of the month or the next flavor of the year. But when you play live, you're building a connection, you're building rapport. They're getting to see you live, and there's an emotional connect when you play in front of a different band, and it's just really powerful. You can build your fan base, build your email list, sell merch, build relationships with the other bands, get to see the world while you're touring, you're filming content. It goes to press. You can send radio. Like when you're all of a sudden on a tour, you can tell so many people, I got this going on. I'm going out on tour with these guys, and it builds more social proof and more history. And so when you go on to get onto a next tour, you can say, hey, I just did this tour with these guys. Would you like to have us on? And it's just kind of like the whole thing. This is the wrong term, but it's just like guilty by association in a good way. Whereas like when you're associating yourself and your band and your brand with bigger acts, it makes you look bigger, which is really powerful and helps to just continue to build the momentum. So I really hope that helps you out. This is probably one of my favorite lectures because I just really believe in it, and I've just had such good experience with it. Sure, Be careful not to blow too much money. You want to know what they're drawing, what their ticket sales are, and whatnot. But if this is your very first time, be careful not to negotiate to the point where you just tick them off, and they're just like, you're annoying, man. We can't even be bothered with you because you're just being really annoying or asking way too many questions. It's a privilege for you to get on this tour, so it's kind of like, be cool. You know what I mean? But again, I think there's only maybe one tour that I bought onto where I was just like, it wasn't really worth it. But then again, like every time I've bought onto a tour, especially when it's making new fans, it's just like these fans that I've made have continued to buy my CDs over the years. And sometimes still I get emails and they're like, hey, I saw you on that tour when you opened up for that band. And I'm just like, oh, dang. I'm like, okay, that was worth the buy-on money. And it's still paying dividends, and you're kind of like, you're not stealing their fans, but again, you're kind of like getting in front of their fan base and have a chance to win them over and stuff. So the investment continues to pay on for a really long time. So hope that really encourages you guys and inspires you. Get out there, get your show together, make sure you're ready, make sure you got like a video done, and so you can send them stuff so they can see you play live, and make sure you're ready. Make sure you're ready for that spot. Okay, if you are opening up for that other band, you don't want to do it too soon. You want to make sure you got some shows under your belt. But again, great way to get out there, especially even if it's a smaller band. Even if it's a smaller band, just buy onto their tour, pay them $100. They'll probably be super stoked. Then they book all the shows for you, and you got a little cross-country tour. Save up all your money from working at wherever you're working at, and then take the time, 2 weeks, go out buy onto a bigger tour, have a blast, and get some experience under your belt and do this thing, man. So stoked for you guys, and I hope this lecture has really helped you out.